I got a lot of lessons left to learn, but I'm not even close. Through my inhibition, I've become quite sure that I love you the most. That this could be the easiest thing if I'd let it, but I'm too afraid of losing it all. 'Cause if I leave everything on the table, then you might break my heart. But I know a love like this doesn't come around every day, and I just can't bring myself to give up right now. Not this way, 'cause I love you and I wanna hold you when we're old and gray. Oh, but love like this don't come around, don't come around every day. Never been quite sure of myself or anyone else, but here I am with you. So I put my hesitations on the shelf, 'cause this is what I choose. This will be the easiest thing if I let it, and I can't be too afraid to fall. So I'm leaving everything on the table. You can have my heart. Oh, I know a love like this doesn't come around every day, and I just can't bring myself to give up right now. Not this way, 'cause I love you and I wanna hold you when we're old and gray. Oh, a love like this don't come around, don't come around every day. Every day. Every day. So I'm leaving everything on the table, 'cause you can have my heart. Oh, I know a love like this doesn't come around every day, and I just can't bring myself to give up right now. Not this way, 'cause I love you and I wanna hold you when we're old and gray. Oh, a love like this don't come around, don't come around. No, a love like this don't come around, don't come around every day. Every day. Oh, every day. Every day. I thought we could both use some change, a newer perspective to see how life looked in a different lane. But here in your arms I can't leave now, 'cause I don't wanna let go of this. Got lost somewhere along the way, chasing the grass that looked greener. Lost sight of my reason to stay, but one look from you draws me nearer. So I don't wanna let go. Love has has a funny way of growing for those that don't mind slowing down. Time is as fleeting as the sunset, hiding in the evening clouds. So live with me here in this moment now. I've started to notice a change, and every morning I see you, lovely in all kinds of ways. I can't express what it means to me when I come home to this. Love has a funny way of growing for those that don't mind slowing down. Oh, time is as fleeting as the sunset, hiding in the evening clouds. So live with me here in this moment now. Oh, live with me here in this moment. Love has a funny way of growing for those that don't mind slowing down. Time is as fleeting as the sunset, hiding in the evening clouds. So live with me here in this moment now. Can we live right here in this moment now?
Don't care what they say. I've been working too hard lately. Feel like I'm going crazy. I need some time in the sun.
Mom and Dad.
Have you ever seen the wonder in the glimmer at first sight? As the eyes begin to open and the blindness meets the light,
If you have souls, say, I see the world in light. I see the world in wonder. I see the world in life, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. Have you ever seen the wonder in the air second light? Having come out of the waters with the old one left behind. If you have souls, say, I see the world in light. I see the world in wonder. I see the world in life, bursting with living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. I see the world in grace. I see the world in gospel. I see the world your way. I'm walking in the light. I'm walking in the wonder. In the wonder in the wild. Turn wilderness to wonder. If you have souls, say, I see the world in love. I see the world in freedom. I see the Jesus way. You're the wonder in the world.
Welcome to Crossroads Church. Whether you're connecting online, in person, or on demand, thank you for making this time part of your week. If you are new to Crossroads, you might be asking yourself, what is this place all about? Well, it's pretty simple. Peace on earth. We are an open and affirming community of people committed to following the peacemaking path of Jesus. And this peacemaking path leads us to focus our work on rewriting what we call the 5 unacceptable truths. These unacceptable truths are 5 realities that hinder human flourishing and destroy peace on earth. Together, we work to replace spiritual emptiness with spiritual vitality, poverty with physical and financial flourishing, fear of the other with inclusion and affirmation, illiteracy with education and opportunity, and modern-day slavery with freedom. This is what we mean when we say, hope is here. Over the next hour, we will experience the divine mystery together as we sing a few songs, listen for wisdom, and share in communion so that we might leave here inspired and equipped to follow the peacemaking path of Jesus in our everyday, normal lives. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God.
I see the world your way, and I'm not afraid to follow. Oh, I see the world your way, and I'm not ashamed to say so. Oh, I see the Jesus way, and I'm walking in the light. I see the world in light. I see the world in wonder. I see the world in life, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. Oh, yeah. I see the world in grace. I see the world in gospel. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. Walking in the wonder. You're the wonder
Nice to see you all. I needed a few more minutes up here. But hi, welcome to Crossroads. If you have no idea who I am, that's okay. My name is Brooke Weens. I am an associate pastor here at Crossroads. You can sit down, please. Take a load off. Put your feet up. Enjoy. Did anybody else get the memo for Hawaiian shirts today? Shame. Just kidding. Well, I don't know if you guys know, but there's a cool thing going on today, but I'll talk about that in a moment. As you came in today, you should have gotten a fancy program. If not, we have our room hosts. Raise your hand. They can stop by, give you one. If you are new here today, welcome. The program folder is specifically designed with you in mind. It has lots of information in it that I think you will find helpful. And inside of your program are a few things that I just want to point out real quick this morning. So if you could open that program, inside is your Connect card. Or if you're snazzy, you can open your app. It's in there as well. The Connect card is for everybody to fill out every week. So if you are a regular attender, just put your name, email address, and check the box, regular attender. But if you are new here, please fill out as much information as you feel comfortable sharing. And if this is your first time connecting with us this morning, we do have a gift for you. It is a book called The God We Never Knew, and it is especially helpful if you are deconstructing ways of thinking about God that you really don't find helpful or useful anymore. So on your way out today, there are some tables. Please just grab a copy and enjoy, read, learn on your way out today. But you might have noticed as you walked in today that there's just a little activity going on around the building this morning. And that is because today is the big summer bash. Guys, all right, let's try that again. It's because today is the big summer bash. All right. I'll take it. Thank you. That was totally just for me. But yeah, today is our summer bash. We are throwing this for the community today. We have inflatables, and we have face painting, and yard games, and hot dogs. And we even have veggie hot dogs for the cool kids like me that eat them. That's right. And so much more. So if you are, new here today and wondering, no, we do not throw parties like this every weekend. But if you want us to, feel free to leave a donation. And we would be happy to provide parties like this every weekend. But it is one way that we are living into our values here at Crossroads of fun, creativity, generosity, and so much more. So the party will get started directly following the service this morning. So if you're not already lending a helping hand or volunteering this morning, I hope that you're able to stick around, eat a veggie hot dog before you judge it, or, play around in some inflatables or something. But that's all that I have for you this morning. So I will invite you to stand back up, stretch those legs, get them moving, and I'll pass it over to Drew and the band.
Take the burden from my arms.
short, I wanna live it well. One life, one story to tell. Life is short, I wanna live it well. You're the one I'm living for, awakening all my soul. Every breath that you take is a miracle. Life is short, I wanna live it well. Yeah, I got one life and one love. I got one voice, well maybe that's enough. 'Cause with one heartbeat and two hands to give, we got one shot and one life to live, one life to live. Yeah, yeah. Oh, every breath that you take is a miracle. Life is short, I wanna live it well. One life, one story to tell. Life is short, I wanna live it well. And you're the one I'm living for, awakening all my soul. Every breath that you take is a miracle. Life is short, I wanna live it well. Yeah, I got one life and one love. I got one voice, well maybe that's enough. 'Cause with one heartbeat and two hands to give, I got one shot and one life to live, one life to live. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Maybe that's enough. I wanna live it well.
All right, guys, you can go ahead and take a seat, grab your top notes, and Ryan will be out shortly.
What you think about that? What you think about anything? What you think about you? What you think about me? What you think about that? What you think about that? What you think about anything? What you think about you? What you think about me? What you think about that? I get so sick and tired of faking all the moves. I know everything that comes between us. I'm gonna let you stew.
Good morning. Okay, it's great to see everybody. If you're a guest this morning, welcome. Thanks for being here. My name is Ryan. I'm the lead pastor at Crossroads. I'm white. I'm male, heterosexual, born Christian, hit the privilege jackpot. And part of my spirituality, part of our faith around here is to recognize that reality and to live in such a way to bring equity and inclusion to all people, regardless of race and gender and creed. And so that's a big part of who we are as a church. So if you are a guest today, tune in online, or you're here for the first time, I just think that level of transparency is important. And if those things are important to you, then you might be at a wonderful space for you. And if you're not, it's an hour. And then there's water slides, and you don't ever have to come back and we can be friends. That's the way I look at it, all right? So if you are a guest today, inside that program is my cell phone number, 207-608-1106. If you'd like to get together, ask questions. You may have some after the talk today. Entirely possible, given the question that was asked and the one we're answering. Shoot me a text. Would love to set up a time to get together, have coffee, whiskey, whatever you prefer, and we'll have a good time together. Now, real quick, can I have your attention, please? Okay, no talk, no fill in right now. Just eyeball to eyeball, something rather important we want to let our congregation know about, all right? I'm going to take this hat off for now. Okay, so we found out this week that in our community there is an urgent need to provide temporary housing for a homeless youth in the Loveland community. And this was brought to our attention because one of our congregational members has a personal connection to The Landing, which is a new local youth homeless shelter. So here's the thing. If you have space in your home, in your heart, you're interested in this, I want to encourage you to just on the back of your Connect card, write youth placement interest. If you'll do that, we will connect you with the appropriate organization. They'll reach out to you. They'll get you all the information. They'll help you understand the opportunities, the differing ways, but it is a temporary situation, circumstance. So if you're interested in learning more about that, on the back of your Connect card, write youth placement interest, okay? Are you with me? All right. Moving right along then. So we're in a series, you asked for it, and we're talking about questions that you all have asked to talk about. And so this week I want to explore this question. This is exactly what it said. I'm interested in the tension between traditional and evolving faith. Anybody ever felt that tension before? I'm interested in that. For example, this person wrote, I miss much of the tradition we had in my Presbyterian church as a child. However, I no longer share much of the theological beliefs. What are your thoughts on navigating that? First of all, don't ever ask me my thoughts, because you're going to get it. I grew up going to church camp. Did anybody else go to church camp ever? Oh wow, lots of religious injury then. Okay, I know the room. No, grew up going to this camp. Lake Placid was where it was in Indiana, and there was this little pond in the campground that was disgusting. Disgusting. It was just filled with like green algae, bugs. You'd like walk back by it and it was just like, I am going to catch malaria. It was awful. It could not sustain. There was nothing living in that. The water didn't move. It was awful. Like unsustainable, healthy ecosystem, right? It was stagnant, still water. Y'all ever been around a body of water like that before? Some of you nature folks, you're like, oh, I did this hike out to this pond and I thought it was going to be great, but then I had to go get a shot afterwards, you know? Right? Well, sometimes that happens. Like bodies of water, they all of a sudden stagnate and there's no in and out flow and they become death, right? On the contrast to that, like on the opposite side of that, a healthy body of water has what's called living water, right? There's this constant motion. There's an interchange, an adapting of new water coming in and flowing out, and that sustains life. Now, scientific research tells us that stagnant water has decreased oxygen levels. That when water is stagnant, there's decreased oxygen, and that increases the algae that can bloom in there, right? And there, all of a sudden, there becomes this buildup of toxins that are detrimental, not only to the aquatic life, but also to any other life that might want to be sustained near that body of water. So healthy aquatic systems, right, bodies of water, they have to have new water, right, to replenish the oxygen, to distribute nutrients, and to maintain the biodiversity of that environment. Now, there are lots of examples of this that have taken place where a biosystem is damaged because water flow ceases to happen. There was a problem with the Klamath River that like flows in like Oregon and Northern California. And what happened was there were these dams that all of a sudden blocked off the natural flow of water, right, from this river. And all of a sudden, it produced all these stagnant conditions, right? And now you had the water was warming, there was low oxygen, and you had all this toxic algae that was blooming in this environment. So what did they do? Well, they noticed, wow, we're having a massive die-off. There were all kinds of public health warnings. Salmon were dying in the area. And so in 2023 and 2024, they started to remove the dams. And they started to allow the water to flow back into this ecosystem, and it showed signs of rapid recovery. And that's what faith is like. It's exactly what faith is like. And tradition. Faith has its dams. And dams are wonderful, right? Dams are not bad in and of themselves, okay? They can help the flow of water. They can decrease. I'm not a damologist, okay? I don't... That kind of sounded like I was swearing, but I wasn't there. You'll know when I swear, okay? Because I do it with purpose and meaning, okay? But the reality is that dams aren't necessarily a bad thing, but they can be. And traditions are like that, right? While dams can be a space that produces sustainability, that produces like health in an ecosystem, it can also harm. And that's the way I kind of tend to think about traditions, right? Traditions, first fill in for those of you that have been anxiously waiting, can be a source of stability or stagnation. And that's the real tension, right? And that's why we feel it. Because, there's something about tradition that makes me feel warm and fuzzy, and these traditions that we have, and I like it, right? But it's just like in an ecosystem where there's water, right? And when it loses its inflows and outflows, it stagnates and it dies. And that's the same thing that happens in our spirituality and in our religious practices if we cling too tightly to our religious traditions. If our religious traditions dam up the flow of life, the flow of the divine, then all of a sudden we have a problem. Because tradition can do beautiful things. Tradition can offer stability. Tradition offers identity. It offers community bonds. We gather together. But an overly rigid tradition, right, can produce stagnation and lifelessness. And it can disconnect us from authentic spiritual vitality. So traditions can be life-giving, or at the end of the day, they can be life-injuring. The real question is, will we be open in the midst of our tradition to allow for movement and renewal? Or will we become fixed and inflexible? Now, what's fascinating is our scriptures, as oftentimes as they're presented as this stable, like only one way, only like this path of constant consistency, like within our sacred text, we actually see evolving faith right in it. And it's beautiful if we'll look for it, if we'll keep our eyes open. And so I just want to give you a few examples of evolving faith that are found within our own religious texts, within the Christian scriptures. So in the covenants that are found in the Garden of Eden and in the story of Noah, and these two stories, those covenants reveal evolving faith. You're like, what are you talking about, Ryan? There's no covenants there. Oh, yes, there is. And I have the degrees to prove it. So listen, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 29 through 30, there's this covenant that's made, right? And it's a creation covenant. And I don't use the word covenant, but it's about, hey, here's what I'm giving you, right? And it says this, God says, see, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food, okay? So that's in Genesis, very early on, Genesis 1, in this creation myth, we see this covenant of like, I've created, I've given you, you eat vegetables. Right? They were vegetarians. This is an important point to gather before I move on to the next part. We need to be on the same page here. Don't eat the animals, eat the plants. I know some of you are like, where's this going? I'm grilling out later. We're having hot dogs. What's going on around here? Okay, hang on there. So this initial covenant was built around this idea of emphasizing harmony and intimacy within creation. Eat the plants. Okay, now, Genesis chapter 9, what's called the Noahic covenant. Say that out loud just so you feel smart. Noahic, right? It comes from the word Noah, all right? The Noahic covenant, the rainbow, the whole thing, I don't know if you know it or not, but in the Noahic covenant, in Genesis chapter 9, verse 3, it says, God says, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And just as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. So now what happens? We become carnivores. Now it's opened up to us. Humans are permitted to eat meat. Can I get an amen? Thank you, Colorado. Now, what's happening here? Here's what's happening. There's an explanation, an understanding, an evolution, right? How do we explain the fact that we used to eat vegetables only and now we eat plants? Well, there's an understanding of what God allows and doesn't allow. So these stories give us pictures of time periods where people who were trying to live faithful to their understanding of the divine, using the divine to explain their kind of boundary markers, there's an evolution, there's a change that takes place. At one point, we thought God only wanted us to eat plants. But then we had a chicken. And we were like, I think God is down with this. Maybe not chicken, you know. But there was this movement that took place, right? And so there was this evolution in faith. Well, God doesn't care so much anymore. We thought God cared, but God doesn't. Now, there's this really fascinating story that we find in a couple of places in the Hebrew Scriptures, or what Christians call the Old Testament, where there's this question around a census that King David puts out there. And inside of this census, we find that this was a bad thing. And the question is, who's to blame for David's census? And when we ask that question, when we explore that question, we find that there is an evolution of faith in the answering of the question, okay? So 2 Samuel chapter 24, 2 Samuel kind of tells the story of the early kings of Israel. And 2 Samuel tells about King David and the movement into David's family and David's lineage. And so in 2 Samuel 24, verse 1, this is what it says. Pay careful attention, class. This will be on the exam. It's Samuel, written early. Samuel says, again, the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and the Lord incited David. Right? So the author of 2 Samuel says, God, the Lord, Yahweh, their understanding of the divine, incited David against Israel and said, go count the people of Israel and Judah. All right? You with me? Now, First and 2 Chronicles are written much, much later. Okay, so 1 and 2 Chronicles is probably the latest literature that we have in the Hebrew Scriptures, right? So it's written much, much later, and it's telling the same story. Okay, same story about the census. Who is to blame for the census in 2 Samuel? The Lord, right? Okay, some of you're just not going to know what to do with this next Bible verse. It's going to shatter your world. 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1. Satan stood up against Israel and incited David to count the people of Israel. Now, Satan, you got to get rid of your Middle Ages, like horned, Satan was an accusing angel in the divine court in the Hebrew Scriptures, okay? There's no concept of hell, punishment in the Hebrew Scriptures like that, okay? So the Satan, the Satan, when you think about it in Hebrew, it's the accusing one, okay? It's part of the divine court in Hebrew mythology, right? Who did it? Well, Samuel says it was the Lord. Samuel says it was the Lord. It was Yahweh. Samuel says Yahweh is to blame. Yahweh's the one who incited David. It was Yahweh's plan. And bad things happened because of it. But Chronicles, which is much later on, a more evolved faith says, maybe we should tone down the blaming God stuff. Maybe God isn't the source of the pain and suffering. Maybe God didn't cause David to do something evil. So this highlights that within the tradition itself, there is an evolving understanding of the relationship between human agency, divine engagement, and human responsibility. Right? Right there. It's right there. Don't get mad at me. I didn't write either of them. Just read them, okay? Carefully. And then we see Jesus, my guy. How many of y'all fans of Jesus? Fans of Jesus? I love it. The peacemaking path, we're all about Jesus here. Jesus really does this. Like, Jesus' most famous teachings required an evolution of faith to capture. So his most famous teachings, like things that the historical Jesus probably taught over and over and over again, are captured in this story in Matthew, and it's called the Sermon on the Mount. Good job for those of you that have no life and know that, okay? Sermon on the Mount. Same people that went to Bible church camp, I know. So listen, here's the thing, the Sermon on the Mount. In the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5, Jesus says things like this. You've heard that it was said. You've heard that it was said to those of ancient times, you shall not murder, and whoever murders shall be liable to judgment. Not a bad deal, right? Pretty good for human flourishing. Bad idea. But I say to you that if you are angry with a brother or sister, you'll be liable to judgment. It's like, let me evolve this thinking a little bit. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 27, he says, you've heard it was said, you shall not commit adultery. Not a bad thing, not a bad idea to forget whose bed you should be in. Don't do that, not a good thing. Tends to produce suffering, tends to be a wounding activity, right? But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman or a man and lust has already committed adultery within their heart. In other words, there's a woundedness that takes place when we objectify people. So I'm going to take it like you think that this is really, really bad. Well, I'm telling you, it's the same effect in the human heart and the human condition and what it does to the way in which we respect people. Jesus is taking it to another level. He's evolving. He's showing that. Matthew chapter 5, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. This is one we kind of like, but if we lived like this, what would happen? Nobody would have any eyes or teeth. Jesus says, but I'm telling you, don't resist an evildoer. Don't do that. If anyone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the other also. I'm not even going to go into who doesn't like that verse these days, but it's all right. 6 times in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says, you've heard it said, but I say to you. Jesus is demonstrating for us. He's demonstrating the dynamic nature of faith, the importance of reinterpreting traditions and adapting teachings in new contexts. This is the embodiment of living water. He's demonstrating it. And he's not demonstrating it because he has some special authority to do it. He's not saying, I'm the one who gets to do this and nobody else. He's modeling what it looks like. And he's inviting others into the process. Later on in Matthew's understanding of Jesus, Jesus says this, truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Huh? Yeah. Jesus in Matthew is saying, I expect you as my followers to be thinking, adaptive people. I'm just going to let that one sit for a second. He expects his disciples to evolve and adjust to new realities, to establish new expectations. And here's the amazing thing. Jesus says, guess what? Heaven will honor your decision. It's like Jesus is saying, heaven really doesn't get it, but I do. Humanity's kind of jacked up. And you're getting better. And so we're going to have to evolve together. And here's the deal. As you continue to live out the principles of the peacemaking life, there's going to come a season where you're going to realize we don't need that anymore, but we need this. And you've got to release it on earth, and you've got to bind it on earth, and heaven is cheering you on. Heaven is present. That's crazy. But that's what Matthew's saying. That's what Jesus is modeling. And so Jesus invites peacemakers to be this kind of living water, right? To be sources of evolving faith. In fact, Jesus explicitly identifies his work, his way of understanding God, his life with this metaphor of living water. He said in the Gospel of John, let anyone who is thirsty come to me, and let the one who believes in me drink. Just as the scriptures say, out of the believer's heart shall flow rivers of, what's the word? Living water. Living water. Now, scholars interpret like living water in that context, contrasting it with the idea of stagnant water, and they say this is about empty rituals and religious practices that are devoid of spiritual vitality, that are lacking in any ability to transform, or they're caught up in traditionalism without transformation. And what Jesus is doing, he's referring back to a prophecy that was given in the book of Jeremiah where stagnant water sits in broken cisterns and they are incapable of holding life-giving water, and that's what's happened to the people. So here's what I don't want us to miss as we explore this question. Like before we can start tackling it, we have to understand this first and foremost. Faith is like living water. It must flow and evolve to stay healthy, vibrant, meaningful, and relevant. Like, that's living faith. And it's powerful. And traditions can and should inform our faith without imprisoning it. As soon as a tradition comes into our faith and it dams up the flow of binding and loosing and evolving and changing and transformation, we have a massive problem. So, to answer your question, what are my thoughts on evolving faith and traditional faith? Here's what I think. Number one, in your everyday normal life, this is what we try to do as a community. This is what I would encourage you to do. Embrace living traditions. Embrace living traditions. Traditions that move and ebb and flow, that are porous, that the living water can flow in and out. Not a dam that just sits there, but a dam that can actually release water and stop the flow of water at times. And so we understand the difference between living into traditions and becoming stagnant in traditional thinking, and that is crucial. So here's an example. Many of us, we celebrate Christmas, right? And you do that in your families, and you have traditions in your families that you love, and they're wonderful, and they're full of meaning, and they produce shared memories. But I can promise you this, hear my voice, those of you that are raising young children and you're establishing Christmas traditions in your home and you love it. I'm promising you this. If you hold on to that tradition as they get older and start their own families, and you force them to stay in that tradition, you will cause a stagnation in your relationship. Right? So here's the thing, like those traditions are great, but if you insist that there's one way our family celebrates Christmas, and it has to be this way year after year after year, despite the changing of family circumstances, that will lead to strained relationships and emotional harm. And that's just like a real world example of having some measure of evolution in your way of thinking about traditions. And in that sense, you acknowledge that the tradition, it was beautiful, it was wonderful, this is what we used to do, but then it has to be adapted to new realities such as children growing up and starting their own families. And that can help preserve the joy and the connection that can happen during a season like Christmas and avoid the toxicity of it. Make sense? Some of you are like, oh, you did not. They're coming to my house forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay, whatever. Set up an appointment for me in 20 years. We'll work through it together. It's okay. Secondly, I want to encourage you to embrace traditions thoughtfully, right? So make sure that your traditions are living, that you give them space, freedom to change, to evolve. But then embrace traditions thoughtfully. And what I mean by that is look for the deeper meaning beneath the literal interpretations within those traditions. Let's go back to Christmas Eve. How many of you have ever been to a Christmas Eve service, Christmas with Crossroads? Anybody? Raise your hand up nice and high. We got the candles, we sing, isn't that wonderful? Tell the Christmas story. And here's what I get a lot of people saying, but Ryan, I don't know. Was Mary a virgin? I don't know. I don't know if I can believe that. Did they really go to Egypt? Were there really 3 wise men? And it's all very valid questions. I love the questions. And a lot of it I don't hold historically accurate myself. But I celebrate that season and I lean into those traditions of lighting a candle because I still believe what the story means, what the story's teaching us, what the birth of Jesus and what the writers were saying by saying, probably misinterpreting a passage of Scripture, and saying that Mary was born of a virgin, and this beautiful story of the divine visitation. I have no idea, and I could never know if those are historically accurate. And anybody who tells you that they can is just, they can't, okay? I'm just gonna say, you can't, there's no way to know that. So I have to set that aside and say that's a beautiful conversation, but what does the story mean? What is it telling me? It's telling me that there was something more powerful about this Jesus than meets the eye. He's like a transformer. Some of you will get that on the way home. That there's something about the life of Jesus that is even as powerful as Caesar, Augustus, who was said to be born through the gods. There's something powerful about one born in a manger, humbly, without any means, that can change the planet. And so I light a candle and I cry every Christmas because I believe that deeply. And I recognize that that's what we as humans do. We make meaning, we infuse meaning, and we have these stories. So we can participate in that tradition, but I don't have to get caught up in defending it and making sure that everything is historically accurate and all of those things. I can say, what does it mean? So I can participate in traditions that have deep meaning and are meaning-making and are important, but I can let them evolve. I can give them room to breathe because I understand that these are revealing a deeper truth about what divine love is, a deeper truth about what human dignity is all about, a deeper truth about hope. And that deeper truth transcends any type of historical literalism. There's so much meaning there. And then finally, I want to encourage you to embrace the freedom to question, adapt, and reinterpret practices and beliefs. Embrace it. Walk into it with freedom and hope, knowing that even the one we follow, this Jesus of Nazareth, that his earliest followers believed that that's what we were supposed to do. That we were supposed to evolve, we were supposed to bind and loose, and we were supposed to question, and we were supposed to acknowledge, does this make sense anymore? Do we need a movement? And this will ensure that your traditions remain life-giving and relevant. And here's the beauty about this, right? Communities and individuals that live into this, that balance tradition with evolving faith, that we don't throw, quote unquote, the baby out with the bathwater, that we balance those. These are places that are welcoming. These are places that are inclusive. These are places that are humble. These are places that are responsive to the changing needs of humanity. And these types of communities, I believe places like Crossroads Church, like your home, like your very life, can foster genuine spiritual growth and will allow for diverse individuals to thrive. And so embrace that balance. Allow traditions to be renewed and revitalized by this constant flow of living water. And that will keep your spiritual ecosystem vibrant and alive. So as we pause today before we go out and jump on some water slides and eat hot dogs and welcome our community, what is it that God's inviting you into for the next 15 minutes? To just pause and reflect. If you're new, kind of exploring this idea of faith, maybe kind of first time around church, I just want to encourage you to stay curious and stay open. Like, just be curious. Spend time observing the traditions in a place like Crossroads. Look at other spiritual communities and how they're observing traditions. Ask honest questions about what gives life to them for you and what doesn't, and what might be limiting about them. Just be open and be like that living water, just testing new ground. Give yourself permission to explore faith practices like prayer, meditation, reading the teachings of Jesus, participating in faith gatherings like this. And just do it with humility and curiosity. You don't have to have all the answers. Heavens know. And for those of you that maybe you've kind of recently said, I'm going to follow the peacemaking path of Jesus. This makes sense. I want to be a peacemaker in this world. And you're kind of being more intelligent about it and you're being more intentional about it, then I just want to encourage you to choose one tradition and engage with it really reflectively. Just pick one tradition that's part of the broader Christian tradition, whatever that might be, regular church attendance, prayer, whatever, and take that and maybe it's communion. Maybe it's the Advent season that's coming up. Maybe it's the idea of a Sabbath, whatever it might be. Maybe it's service in the community. And explore how that can be both rooted in history, but also renewed through your unique life experience. So just ponder it, consider it. Ask yourself, what does this mean for me here and now? As you have communion, what does this mean for me right here, right now? And so let the tradition shape you without you becoming rigid or without the tradition like pounding you, right? Just like living water. And now for those of you that are like, Ryan, come on, challenge me. I'm a veteran peacemaker. I mean, I haven't lost my temper in like 7 days. I've been at this a long time. Well, I want to encourage you to teach and release, right? So take your wisdom, take your stories about the tradition and the traditions that are within it, and your transformation, and give it to others. Like, share them, but hold them lightly. Invite others to reinterpret your experiences, to reinterpret what you've carried so that it can become life-giving for them. So what you hold as dear and important and valuable for you, you have to release that into other people's experiences and trust that their experience with that tradition, however they might reshape it and reframe it and it might evolve, can be beautiful and life-giving for them. And maybe ask the question, where am I still being invited to grow given how other people are experiencing this tradition? And in doing that, we're allowing living water to keep flowing through us, not as a reservoir, but as a stream that can nourish others and we can stay fresh ourselves. So, we're going to have communion. We're going to pause. I'm going to invite you to stand. If you're at tables, the communion is there. If you're on the sides or in the back, you're welcome to come to the tables. Everyone is invited. There's no class to take or anything like that. This is just a moment to remind ourselves of the radical love that is found in the story of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. I love this song that they're going to sing for us today. Hopefully you'll sing along as you catch it. We've done it a few times. It's called True Colors. And it's a rewrite with the tune from this old hymn, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. And I love this verse that says, I saw danger in my questions. I took captive all my thoughts. Certainty was my salvation till I questioned what was taught. And here's what I like. Now my eyes are wide in wonder, my mind set free to discern. I might not have all the answers, but I have all this life to learn. That is the joy and the beauty of evolving faith. It is the faith that I believe the historical Jesus invites us into. So the body of Christ broken for you, and the blood of Christ shed for you, take and eat as we pause and reflect on how this can change us and shape us in our everyday normal lives.
I was lost in utter darkness. I was trapped in toxic shame. I was bound by my religion till I chose to break away. Now I'm finding my true colors. For the first time I feel free. Now I'm learning self-compassion as I heal and finding peace. Ooh, I kept at a distance, those who lived life differently, saw the world in right or wrong, but they're all human just like me. I stepped out and love expanded us and melted away. Beauty found in every distance. As I listen, I'm amazed. Oh, I saw danger in my questions. I took captive all my thoughts. Certainty was my salvation till I questioned what was taught. Now my eyes are wide in wonder, mind set free now to discern. I might not have all the answers, but I have all this life to learn. Oh,
stay stagnant, that we get to have that flowing water of question and engagement and doubt without any shame, without control, with freedom to be and to sit with questions of tradition, to sit with questions of God and Jesus, and to have the freedom to live into that. I'm so thankful that we get to engage with a God like that. Just take a breath. Be reminded of who that God is for you today, to experience that flow and the freedom to be. In just a minute, I'm gonna ask the room host to come around and to collect the donations and connect cards. So you can take a seat if you would like. And while you're getting that ready, while you're grabbing your connect cards and donations, and as we kind of transition out of this time of worship and reflection, I do just have a few other things for you. I hope you haven't forgotten. We do have a big party to get to. On the back of your connect cards, you will see a box that is in regards to a young adult group. So we are looking for some people who might be interested to form, facilitate, host, lead a group for young adults. So ages 18, 25, kind of this collegiate age. And we're looking for people who might be interested to join. Maybe you're in that age group. Maybe you're not, but you would love to open your home or work with other people to kind of form a group. So if you are in one of those categories, to kind of facilitate, form a young adult group, ages 18 to 25, please mark that box on the back of the Connect card, and somebody from our team will be reaching out with you, getting in touch. There's such a need for that demographic, and we want to be able to create an inclusive and safe space for that age to be able to question and experience the living water. And so if you're interested, mark it on the back. But it is almost time for the summer bash. So now I will have those room hosts come up forward, collect your donations, connect cards, and we will get out of here shortly. Thank you.
World your way, I'm not afraid to follow. I see the world your way, oh, I'm not ashamed to say so. I see the Jesus way, and I'm walking in the light. I see the world in light, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in life, bursting in living color. Oh, I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. I see the world in grace, I see the world in gospel, I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light, walking in the wonder. You're the wonder in the world. Turn a wilderness to wonder. I'm so sick. Oh, I see the world in love. I see the world in freedom. I see the Jesus way. You're the wonder in the world.
Dog for everybody, so don't be experimenting today, all right? That's not the point. If you're a guest this morning, we finish all of our experiences with a blessing, and you are invited to kind of lift your arms, to open your soul, your spirit up to receive these words as you go out into your everyday normal life. So as you leave this place, may you go forth like a stream, fed by fresh springs, open to renewal, ever moving, never stagnant. May you honor the traditions that have shaped you, even as you let them breathe and bend and bloom in new seasons. And may the invitation of Jesus to be living water take root in you, an ever-flowing source of grace and courage and compassion. And as you bind and loose your understandings of the divine, may you find not fear, but freedom, not judgment, but joy, not rigidity, but wisdom shaped by humility and insight. And may your faith be a living faith, vibrant, evolving, and life-giving. And may the Spirit lead you always toward truth, toward love, and toward the wholeness of God's presence in you and in this world. Amen. Amen. Have an awesome week. Have an awesome time at Summer Bash.
When you see the road from every direction, it will give you eyes, give you hope, it'll give you perspective. I've been back and forth, and yeah, I had my crashes. Now I've seen the road, it goes every direction. Oh, there are stories to tell, the times we grew and the times we fell. Oh, I've been afraid some days, but the road will lead us to a better place. Road will lead us to a better place. Dead ends come and go. Look toward the horizon. Up ahead you'll find a peace of mind, relief from the trying. I have burned a bridge, wrecked in a ditch, had to ask forgiveness. Dead ends come and go. Look toward